Meta stock has been dropping like a rock lately, and we have seen under $600, especially today in the stock market, where Meta is actually at very interesting buy opportunities today. I'm going to go through what makes Meta a buying opportunity, what makes it cheap, what I want to buy this stock at, if I own any shares, what I'm going to do in the future with these shares. So make sure that you guys subscribe to this video and like the video if you guys want to see more content like this. Let's get right into it and not waste any more time. Okay. Meta. I'm so pumped about Meta. I think that Meta is going to be a great opportunity for many investors to put their money into, and I myself are a Meta shareholder. Now today, Meta, you saw this company dropped below $600, and at the low we saw $596 for a company that has been trading anywhere between $750 almost not even a month ago. So this stock has seen an immense decline over the past month, 15% to be exact, and it is a $1.5 trillion market cap today. Analysts are saying this is a strong buy, and we're going to get into why that might be. Now, Meta, as you all know it, is driven by this guy named Mark Zuckerberg, green lizard, Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy that you do not want to mess with on the streets. Him and Elon were beefing a couple years ago, but it seems that they've squashed their beef, and he's running the company now, at least to his best abilities. I do want to get into Meta's latest earnings here. Let's just go through all the metrics that they're showing here, see how great of a company Meta is. If you don't know, Meta is a company that is also in the digital media advertising space. They own WhatsApp, Instagram, Oculus. All of these platforms, Threads, are going to come together to create the Meta ecosystem here. Now, here's their advertising revenue per user geography. This is what makes up all of their customers, essentially. You can see that a lot of their customers come from US and Canada, while the rest of the world is still a big piece for Meta. You have a lot of growth within Europe and Asia Pacific, as well as the rest of the world here. But Asia and Europe being the two biggest other than the US is pretty interesting to note here. Now, this is just the advertising piece. Let's get into the revenue as a whole piece. You can see the same story here. It's probably just skewed a little bit differently, but it's almost equivalent in terms of percentage wise. US, Europe, and Asia are pretty much driving the entire business for Meta. Now, some of the segment results here, you know that Meta is a advertising based company, meaning a lot of their revenue is generated from ads coming from different people that want to pay for ads. When you go on Facebook, you'll probably see a lot of ads on the sideline and throughout the videos that you watch. That ad that is placed right there is actually being paid for by a company to show it to you. It may be targeted, it may be not, depending if you have your cookies on or not, but that is essentially the gist of how Meta makes money. In other words, Meta makes money from advertising and this other category to complete their family of apps revenue at the end of the day. There is a smaller piece to Meta that many people don't actually realize, and it's this Reality Labs revenue. A lot of the Reality Labs revenue might just be something that you have seen, like the Meta glasses, where somebody wears glasses and they have a camera in the corner that is able to record you. And you can also control what you're seeing based off your hand gestures. I believe there's a wristband to control everything, but you are able to see a different world, which is augmented reality, and you're able to control different things as you go along, as well as record in, I believe, possibly 8K, maybe not 8K. I might be wrong. Let's look it up. I lied. You can only record in 3K. But most people watch on 1080p regardless, so that is okay. You don't need 4K, you don't need 8K. That is perfectly fine. When it comes to the expenses of Meta, majority of it does come from the R&D team. The R&D team is essentially the software engineers that are creating the product in the back end to code everything that you're seeing to everything that runs in the back in order for you to have this product where you can connect people to people, which is you sharing a story on Instagram to connect with your friend Joe across the nation. So that is essentially what the expenses look like. It's majority people when it comes to a software company like Meta. Now, if you look at their earnings per share, you can see that it's dropped immensely in the recent quarter. And this is going to be from a one-time thing, a one reason occurrence here. Net income includes a one-time non-cash income tax charge for provisions and income taxes of $15.9 billion accrued in the third quarter. Essentially, due to Trump's big, beautiful bill that is going to be helping a lot of businesses here, they are able to write down their net income so they pay less taxes, but at the end of the day, they're not actually using any money. The cash is still the same position. They haven't paid any more money than they needed to. They're getting a tax write-off, and essentially their income, their earnings, look a little bit smaller. But in reality, they haven't burned a dollar when it comes to the graph that you're seeing here. Now, it's important to know that this is a non-cash tax charge of $15.9 billion. And this is essentially accounting in the background to make the earnings look a lot smaller. Essentially, it is a short-term hit for a long-term gain when it comes to Meta's taxes. The capital expenditures, a lot of people don't really like the capital expenditures where Meta is bringing it. A lot of the times, you don't really need to be spending $50 billion on capital expenditures for a software company that's mainly driven by advertising. However, there is the opportunity that Meta sees in putting a lot of dollars into CapEx to hopefully get that return for shareholders one day. A lot of people disliked how much they're spending in capital expenditures in 2025, and especially since that they raised their guidance for 2026 to spend more money on CapEx. So given that they already don't like the returns so far of what Meta has been spending for CapEx, and Meta is just going to keep throwing money into the fire pit until they can get a return on their investment, people don't like that, which is why you've been seeing the stock drop from 750 to under 600 today. Now, if you look at the daily active users for a company like Meta, they are growing regardless. You thought that Facebook was a dead company. Facebook is anything but a dead company because they have Instagram and WhatsApp and all of these other apps that you use, and they're still growing users every single day. Billions of users today. They have about 3.5 billion users that are using their family of apps here. And if you are curious on how much a company like Meta can make off a person like you using their platform, on average, Meta is able to bring in about $14.50 for each person that uses their platforms, meaning you have spent $15 and you have spent $14.50 and you have spent $13 and you have spent $16, and on average you're spending about $14.50 here. Now, if we look at ad impressions delivered year over year, you can see that ads are only increasing, and we can see that in Q3, especially in this most recent quarter, ad impressions are increasing like they have never been before. This just means that advertisers or companies are spending more money today to get your attention, to get your bids, to get your business in order to buy their products. So we can see that advertising has increased throughout businesses, and it seems that if advertising is increasing, the consumer must be doing well. Though the job market might not be as strong, the spending in ads tells us otherwise. And it's kind of an interesting mix to where everyone says things are going up, the cost of goods are going up, groceries are going up, but you see advertisers spend a lot of money to capture your business. I'm very curious to know how much the consumer is actually spending. Just because ads are rising, that doesn't necessarily mean that people are spending money, or maybe it's harder to get people to spend money. So that's why you need to spend more money on ads. But let me know, are you guys spending more money today than you guys did last year? Because that makes a difference. Or is it negligible to where you actually don't spend more money and it's about the same? Let me know. I'm actually really curious to know that. Now, it seems like the average price per ad that Meta is charging is about 10%. It's on average to where they usually are at. However, you can see that they actually raise their ad prices in Europe. In Europe, there's a lot of ads that are being priced higher, but in Asia, it's actually less. Maybe it's because there's not that much of a dominance when it comes to Meta in Asia. You have other platforms that you would rather use, maybe instead, which is why people don't see the value in investing in an advertising platform in Asia. So that could be it. I'm not too sure. I don't live over there, but that's just a hunch. Now, these are the Meta earnings presentations of Q3 2025, but I want to bring your attention to Meta today. So here's what the metrics look like. You have a company that is growing their revenues per user on average at about 17% year over year gains. Their daily active users are growing at 7%. That's insane. Year over year, 7% for a company this large with 3.5 billion users. You know how hard it is to get 7% on, let's say, 1 million people? 3.5 billion people, and they're still getting 7% year over year growth. Come on. They're growing 20% advertising. They're growing 9% in reality labs, payments and other. They're growing 50%. This is a company that is growing hand over fist in every which way. In terms of their revenue by geography, US and Canada extremely strong at 20% growth. This is the most biggest revenue generating geography piece out there. Europe growing at 22%, rest of the world growing at 90%. But Asia is slowing down a bit at 20%. But even though it is slowing down, it's still 24, almost $25 billion that they're getting from Asia. And that's easily made up in the other regions. You won't win in every market, but Meta definitely is winning in majority of them. Looking at their revenue year over year, I want to look at the trailing 12 months. Year over year, the company is growing revenues at 21%. And you're looking at earnings. Let's look at earnings. Net income grew at 5% because remember, they have that one-time cash expense. And I think if you were to take that out, you'd probably see anywhere between 30 to 40% here. I believe they came out and said it would be around there. So you have a company growing anywhere between 30 and 40% on earnings growth, while top line is growing at 21%. All of that while you're paying a PE of 26, a forward PE of 20. I think that is cheap. I think for a company like Meta that is going to be around as long as people use their platform is a cheap price to pay for a conglomerate that has proven itself year over year. I know people don't like Green Lizard Guy because of all of this and all of that, but at the end of the day, I'm investing in the business. I'm investing in where Mark Zuckerberg and the team can bring the entire business going forward. A business that is growing 20% top line and growing 30 to 40% on the bottom line, a business that has avenues in every which region that you can imagine. They're growing in every region besides Asia, and even their Asia growth isn't that bad. Returns on invested capital for this company are at 22%. Return on assets are about 18%, and return on their equity is 32%. This is a company that is extremely efficient and allocating their capital. And you are seeing a company that you just want to be invested in. I want to be invested in for years, 5, 10, 15 years. I'm okay with holding this company wherever it goes to because I myself use a lot of these platforms today. Though I might not use Facebook as much, I might use Instagram more. And even though I don't use Facebook, my parents still use Facebook. So I got to connect with them on Messenger. If I'm out of the country and I don't have data from, let's say, Verizon, and I got to pay for that, then I'm going to connect to a wireless connection possibly, and then FaceTime, video call my family using Messenger. You can also use WhatsApp. Many people use that, but I found that Messenger is comfortable for me. So there's still so many use cases for people to use Facebook and use Messenger in the app, let alone you have the marketplace that keeps people on there that's competing with OfferUp and all that. That's not even a big portion. You have Facebook dating that's competing against Tinder and Hinge, but that's not even a big portion. The advertising piece for just the social media platform alone is driving majority of this business. Now let's do a reverse DCF here on Meta, looking at their earnings. And I'm going to do a 10-year DCF using earnings growth of about 15. And if Meta grows at 15, it has a cash conversion ratio of 50%. And in 10 years time, they'll be at a 20 price earnings ratio with a discount rate of 12%, which is pretty average for most companies. Then you'll see that here, we're actually undervalued by 16.9, 17% essentially. And in the future, you will see Meta get a 14% return. That is an annual return that investors should and will be happy for. Let's say on the earnings growth, they actually grow just a little bit more than what we expect, maybe 18%. You can see this company get you a 17% year over year return. And let's say they kill it 20%. You can see this company get 19% annual returns just for your time here. So I believe that Meta is an extremely cheap company to buy, given that it has a very wide moat. And there are so many avenues that Meta can invest their money into to capitalize on the future investments to come. Then this company is a no-brainer for me today. This company, I want to buy more. Now, Meta is a company that I hold in this public account here. And Meta, I have about an 8.5% loss on this position. I put in about $17.7 thousand, and today it's worth $16,000. Am I scared that I'm down 8% on Meta? I think I'm rather ecstatic. I'm rather happy to own the stock. I'm rather happy to be looking at the stock today to want to own more. I want to own as much Meta as I can, given this price point. I've owned Meta at $88 in the past. I've let it get away from me. I have watched it go all the way up to 700 something dollars, and that has gotten away from me. So now I feel that I'm finally getting a chance to actually look at the Meta business and make this decision of investing seriously into it. This position in this account is worth about 8% of the portfolio. And I do want to raise this more to, I don't know, $25,000 if I can. It's between this Meta position or Amazon. Amazon is a company that I also want to keep buying. And I think that both you cannot go wrong with buying either. That's where I put my money. That's where I put my mouth in. And that's where I put my money in the portfolio. If both of these positions don't go well, then that is of my doing. And if it does go well, then investors will be very pleased with the returns. I am betting on Meta to give me those great returns in the future, and I will continue to hold the stock throughout the test of time. It's actually funny here today. I tried to buy some more Meta in my Roth IRA. I put a limit order of $597.80 at the last 10 minutes of the close. And we didn't hit, but it's okay. I think I will get an opportunity to buy this under $600. And when I do, I will buy some more. I will be very much interested in looking to buy more of Meta stock. Come this week, come next week, whatever happens, I will be buying Meta. So that is everything that I have about Meta today. If you guys enjoyed this video, you want to see more stock analysis, more stock research, just subscribe to the channel because you are getting a guy that is super interested, super passionate about all of this, puts his money where his mouth is, and will let you know what he's doing. Let me know, do you guys own Meta today? Are you guys planning to buy some more? And if you guys are, let me know in the comments section below. If you made it to the end, you are a real one. And thank you guys so much for your time. I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.